What's up, boys? Week 8. Fun week. This league, for what it was 4 weeks ago when there were like four solidified teams, there's now a pile up. Like, things are getting much closer. Things are getting much closer. This league is about to get It was Halloween and stuff got spooky. Real spooky. Alright, let's go through this. So, game one. It's me versus Camden. I always go mine first because it's always at the top. Because I'm clearly on mine. I thought I was going to beat Camden because I have pride in myself. I didn't actually think my team was better than him. I thought there was a chance we could win, but my team isn't better than his. We blew the doors off of Camden. We won by almost 40. We blew the doors off of him. And really, it was 4 players. It was 4 players for me. Well, 5. Nick Folk with 15. Michael Carter had 23. Thank God, Michael Carter. My goodness. 23 on Cincinnati and a Jets win. I'm sorry. I was a little upset too. I'm a Joe Burrow guy. So I'm upset. And I'm sorry, but man, oh man. Dallas Goedert played solid. The Vikings defense actually played a little worse than expected because Cooper Rush is Cooper Mount Rushmore. So that's how that went. DK Metcalf, big game because they killed Jacksonville. I'm actually sad about it. Trevor Lawrence let me down. I needed him in FanDuel. We won money, but could have won much more. Devontae Smith didn't do anything. I thought with CeeDee Lamb, and with Dak being out, that CeeDee Lamb would go down a little bit, and I thought against Detroit in the 44-6 blowout they had that, they would maybe use their number one. I shouldn't bet on that because it's Devontae Smith, so that's whatever. Khalil Herbert had a solid game. Elijah Mitchell had a really good game. I like him moving forward, and then Tom Brady was Tom Brady. Even though they lost fantasy-wise, he did well. So there's that. My team moving forward, I like it. I don't love it. I like it. I need a running back 1 or 2A. I can deal with 2 really solid running back 2s, which would be Elijah Mitchell and insert player, and then Michael Carter is like a flex to running back 2. So if I have 3 running back 2s instead of having a running back 1, 2, and a flex, it doesn't even out fully, but it kind of does. So the consistency's there. Obviously, Khalil Herbert is in, but he's not going to be in forever because David Montgomery will be back at some point. But for now, he's the number 1 there. He's been running well. I've got DK Metcalf. I've got CeeDee Lamb. I've got Antonio Brown. Calvin Ridley is now MIA because he needed time off. I'm not here to hate on anybody's mental health, but for fantasy, I'm going to hate on it. What the hell are you doing? In real life, I really hope you get well. I hope you get right in your mind because obviously things are bigger than fantasy sports. But in fantasy sports, I just traded Tyreek Hill and Elijah Mitchell. Calvin Ridley and Elijah Mitchell I got for Tyreek Hill, which is a good trade because I needed a running back, so Elijah Mitchell's actually going to be that. And Calvin Ridley's supposed to be top 15 receiver in the league. And then Tyreek Hill's Tyreek Hill. We know what he does. I essentially just traded Elijah Mitchell or Tyreek Hill for Elijah Mitchell straight up. Solid. Good job, team. You're doing a real good job with this. Even though my team's really not that bad, but you're doing a real good job. You need to take one of those receivers and move them for a running back. Anyways, going on to Camden. Camden had a terrible week. I don't know the next time you'll see Travis Kelce put up 0.7. 4 catches, 27 yards on a fumble. Really? In a 20-17 win over the Giants? Really? Kansas City, you're not good. Anyways, the Bills did what the Bills did against the Dolphins. I mean, they've been Obviously, the Dolphins had bigger expectations coming to the year, but they've been for the entire year. Injuries and everything else plays a part in that. Matt Stafford went off. Alvin Kamara played as well as you expected him to play against the Bucs run defense. The Bucs run defense is very stout, so 13.6 is solid. You've got Leonard Fournette only with 4. That makes sense because the Saints' run defense is really stout, and they were going to be forced to throw the ball. Then you got Mike Evans with 10. He had a big touchdown. That's what you expect from Mike Evans. DJ Moore, you were expecting a little more from DJ. You're expecting a little more from DJ against Atlanta, but they're not so great defense, but only got 5.9. Like, Camden's team just didn't come to play. Terry McLaurin against Denver couldn't do a damn thing. That game was a slop fest. Robert Woods on his bench played well, but like, there was no lineup Camden could have assembled to beat mine this week. So he just had one of those bad weeks. But I don't think it takes away from his team. His team just is showing more and more that it can be a little flawed. He doesn't have holes. It's just he's not boom or bust, because he didn't have a great week and still put up 91. But he's not boom or bust. But it's showing that the level of consistency isn't as high as you want it. But you also have bad weeks as a fan. Like in fantasy, everyone doesn't play well every single week. So there's that. Camden Timmy, this is a tough loss. This is a tough loss. And I don't even mean to be that in a bad way. That's just a tough loss. Like, less than 3. You know you win this game. You're 4-4. You're tied with Austin at 4-4 to be one of those teams. So it's Justin. I wish I could talk and think. It's Justin, it's Camden, it's Tyler. Then you're in that crop of 4-4 with you, Austin, and Jared. That's a tough loss. Especially because Joe's team didn't play well. Like, if you think, like, if it comes down to it, Daniel Jones scores on that last drive, you win. That's what hurts. So obviously this week you have Dak. You have Deshaun Watson, who is interesting because he might come back. But you have your team. We've gone over. I mean, your team is going to be fine. DeAndre Swift had 3 points. This is the things that kind of scare me. But DeAndre Swift is just not my guy. James Conner did what James Conner does. Red zone touchdowns. That's who he is. Cooper Kupp did what Cooper Kupp does. Michael Pittman with Carson Wentz is becoming more and more of a play every week. He's really moved into almost like a wide receiver 2-ish kind of guy around there, depending on the week, because you never know the Colts. It's hard to trust Carson Wentz too. Kyle Pitts just fell off the wagon this week, but that game was weird. I watched that game because of where my time zone is in Florida. I watched it. It was just a weird game. Matt Ryan tried to force feed the ball to Pitts, so it wasn't even the fact that he wasn't getting targets. Just like Matt Ryan threw a pick at the end of the game trying to force feed it to Kyle Pitts. So his production's going to keep going up because he's going to get at least 12 targets, especially with Calvin Ridley out. Yeah. Javonte Williams did what Javonte Williams does. Oh, I didn't even realize that. The Bears had -6 points. If he doesn't play the Bears defense, he wins. Oh, that's so tough. That is so tough. Oh man, Timmy, I'm sorry for you actually, and I don't even mean that like in a condescending way. When your defense is the reason you lose games because they still are negative. Oh my god. Ira would have literally blew up the chat, and I think he would have probably actually dismembered the chat if that was his defense or his kicker again. But Randy Bullock had a good game. Like, moving forward, he's going to be fine. He has Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams. He'll be able to slide Michael Pittman into that flex spot, so he won't have a real big problem at his flex. And essentially, it's just, can you trust DeAndre Swift and James Conner for the rest of the year is how you're going to do. Or can they produce enough to where the 2 best receivers in fantasy right now can just lift it up? Because regular receivers average around 12. There are guys who can just get like 18 a week. So if they can get that extra 6, and you can get James Conner and DeAndre Swift around 8 points instead of having 3s, you even it out. So he's definitely still in contention, and you'll see with my rankings and everything, he's still in contention. I didn't drop him for a little loss. Joe, team's still flawed. James Robinson might be out for a couple weeks. It's not going to be long term, but could be for a couple weeks. So that's going to be interesting to see what goes on there. Cordarrelle Patterson, Cordarrelle Patterson, now that Calvin Ridley's out, is going to be their number one target, just because he runs and he catches it. So, like, obviously Pitts is their number one receiving option, but like overall he's going to be used more than any other player because he's a dual guy. Patrick Mahomes may turn it up at some point. I don't know. The Chiefs, I really don't know with them. They played Green Bay this week. Green Bay's defense looked pretty nice last week, so we'll have to see. Chris Godwin got 20. That's high for Chris Godwin. He had a really good game. He can do that, obviously. With Antonio Brown coming back, that'll be less. But Chris Godwin, as I said last week, is going to be anywhere from that 8 to 16 range, really, every week. He had 20. That's a big week, obviously. Mike Williams, 1.9. Well, that's not a shock. Why? Because it's Mike Williams. And I don't hate on Mike Williams. It may sound like I do. It's just 14, 15, 26, 1.1, 28.5, 2.7, 1.9. He's playing Philly the next week, so he'll probably either be terrible or go off, and then he'll probably go off and against Minnesota. Like one of the next two games, he'll probably just explode. Because that's Mike Williams. He's high or he's low. He's like a mini Tyler Lockett, just not to the same extent. But like he's kind of boom or bust, especially this year. CJ Uzomah, he's been literally boom or bust. He's fifth in tight end points, but he's had a 21-point game, another 21-point game, and then a 7.5 game because he got a touchdown. But like other than that, he's done absolutely nothing this year. He's just like the game he scores one touchdown, he would score two touchdowns and have big. He's just a big play guy. He has big opportunities. Panthers defense played obviously solid against Atlanta, and then Graham Gano. So he has Mark Andrews on his bench, obviously on a bye this week. He's got Josh Jacobs on a bye this week. David Montgomery's obviously out, so it was a big win for him. It was definitely a big win to propel him up to be 3-5, and his team moving forward definitely has pieces. He has pieces. Once his team's fully healthy, he's gonna kind of be the lesser version of Tyler, where it's a boom or bust team, but Tyler's floor is higher than Tyler's floor is ground one, Joe's floor is the basement. But they still have the same high. So it's gonna be interesting to see with them. Well, this is a story all about how Ira's week got turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute just to sit right here and tell you how he got kicked by the Fresh Prince of Hilaire. Jesus Christ, Austin, with the $1.59. Like, I knew your team was going to obviously ascend because you did get Darrell Henderson, who's been consistent, and they've been playing garbage teams too. You got Najee Harris back. He's Najee Harris. You got Damian Harris. You got T.J. Hawkinson, A.J. Brown. Wow, it's crazy. These players were on my team because Austin and I have made a bunch of trades. He's probably gotten the better of him just because he was able to get more out of his trades due to the fact that he got trades with other people and was able to kind of maneuver them back and forth with me. But we've actually, from the team I had to the team I have, we've progressed. It is what it is. But now, Josh Allen, Darrell Henderson, Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, A.J. Brown, T.J. Hawkinson, Damian Harris, the Eagles defense this week, and then Tyler Bass. With the Patriots defense on his bench, Keenan Allen on his bench, and A.J. Dillon, who's actually starting to look like a person, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire in IR. This team has no holes. It's really just going to come down to people like Darrell Henderson, who is a really good back, but a back that I don't know is just a feature back. He's had good production every week. He's 7. So like he's not gonna like fall down, but he has definitely been playing favorable matchups. Like he played Houston, he played the Giants. Like he's been getting big weeks that way. But he's gonna still be around 10 to 11. So it's really just gonna be the consistency of people like him and T.J. Hawkinson, just because he's on Detroit. It has nothing to do with his talent. Just he's on Detroit. That's pretty much that. Maybe A.J. Brown can either take a step forward or a step back. With Derrick Henry out, you get the 7 to 8 in the box. So you have more one-on-ones on the outside. Plus you have Julio. Now that Derrick Henry's out, obviously they're still going to run the ball. Justin, and by the way, I want AP. That's my guy. Me. I want him. Anyways, so obviously they're still going to run the ball. They're still going to try to keep a balanced attack. Mike Vrabel comes from that ilk. So they're going to still keep a balanced attack. It's just now our team's going to fully double him, leave Julio one-on-one, and then not force them beat him with the run, but just not worry about it as much because you don't have a 6'4", 260-pound back in the backfield. So it'll be interesting to see. Or he can go up because obviously they don't have him, so they're gonna feed him more. It's one of the two. And then so that's that. Austin's team has no holes. It's really just going to be a matchup play and how things go. And if he tries to upgrade things or not. Maybe if he makes a move, injuries, things like that. Ira, 81. Put up 81 this week. Ira had a tough week. Devontae Booker has been filling in nicely while Saquon's out. He's got Saquon now, so he needs to come back. Chris Carson needs to come back because Alex Collins isn't it. I'm sorry, Alex Collins. I'm sorry, Alex Cope isn't it. It's just not it. Alex Cope is not it. Anyways, but he needs Chris Carson back. DeAndre Hopkins is still, he was battling an injury in the game. He had 6.6, but he's still been in that, I'm not going to boom, but I'm not going to bust. He's just been in that. Cortland Sutton didn't have a great week. That whole game was weird. No one but Melvin Gordon had a solid week. And Melvin Gordon obviously was in Ira's lineup. He had 16.2. Dalton Schultz with no Dak. It's kind of up and down. You would think that maybe he would use a tight end security blanket, but Cooper Rush, they basically took away the middle of the field and said, hey, Cooper Rush, you're going to beat us on the outside. You're going to beat us throwing the ball. And he did. He did. It's good for him. And then Mason Crosby is solid. So his team moving forward, he's going to have a Russell Wilson, Saquon, Chris Carson, DeAndre Hopkins, Cortland Sutton, Schultz. It's going to come down to that flex spot, and it's going to come down to can he get healthy in time. If he can get healthy in time, then maybe, depending on the week, he can actually push through and maybe make a playoff push. But if he doesn't, then good night, Irene. Tyler. Wrong Lamore. I was looking at Austin's team again. Tyler and Jared had a close game, kind of ugly game for the way our points have been going in this league. It was 94 to 90. You just saw kind of Jared has just been, he needs to be 500. Dalvin Cook, he needed to be 500 coming back with Christian McCaffrey coming back. Dalvin Cook has been less than cool this year. He's out. He's obviously been out 2 games. He had only 4 points against Cleveland. He only had 7.8 against Dallas. But he's going to be someone who's going to need to pick up by the end of the year. This year, he's got Baltimore. That's going to be tough. Then he's got the Chargers. Okay, he's got Green Bay. They've been actually sneakily good against the run, because even for historically being vulnerable to the run. So, but they've been sneakily good against the run this year. And he's got San Fran, who's been solid. Then he's got Detroit, Pitt. So it's going to be interesting to see Dalvin Cook, but he's still Dalvin Cook. You're not going to just throw him to the wolves. Like, he's Dalvin Cook. Deebo Samuel's the real deal. Like, he's just getting used every single week because that's the only player offensively. It's like they have Elijah Mitchell or whatever running back they have in, and then Deebo Samuel because George Kittle's been out. He may come back this week. Kyler Murray had the worst game of his season. He didn't do anything. He had 11.8 points. Chuba Hubbard had more points than Kyler Murray. That should never happen. Tyreek Hill. Gronk, he played. A little iffy play because I didn't think he was going to play at all. He almost had one touchdown, which would have made up for everything, but he didn't, and then left with a back injury. Darrell Williams played solid. Actually, I thought he had another tight end. Like Jared Cook, so I would have probably played Jared Cook over Gronk, actually. But Jared Cook didn't do anything either. So his team's interesting. Again, as I said last week, you get a Kyler Murray, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill, Rob Gronkowski, insert flex, whatever defense, and then whatever kicker. You're going to be a playoff contender. So he's going to be fine. It's just, can he stay afloat before Christian McCaffrey came back? And he's done well enough to do so. Tyler won, and his team is still... His team, obviously, it's boom or bust. We know that. Aaron Jones, good game. What do you expect? Austin Eckler, good game. Aaron Rodgers, solid game. For him, low, 21.5. That's kind of low. Jerry Jeudy, first game back off a big injury. Kind of expected. Nothing crazy. Stephon Diggs, 10 points. He hasn't been what he was last year. He's just been so... Because that Bills team's just been actually up and down nice. So they've been top to bottom nice, not just relying on one nice. So Stephon Diggs has been cool. He's been chilling. Hunter Henry, the Patriots don't still know how to use their tight ends, even though they got their tight ends to try to reminisce on their early 2010 teams. But we beat the Chargers. Pick 6, Adrian Phillips. I'm happy. Playoffs are actually looking like a possibility, so I'm pumped about that. Zach Moss is not a great running back to have unless the Bills are going to blow people out, because he's normally a goal line back, and he's normally a goal line back, but they also use Josh Allen on the goal line, have legs, obviously his arm too, so he's really the late game, we got to run the clock out back. The Rams defense played solid, and they just got Von Miller. Von Miller's dinged up. I think he'll be back in a couple weeks, or he may even be back this week, but it's always weird to me, real quick, a side note, it's always weird to me how veterans that are like still really good in the NFL because of their contract, their injury history, and they're not the exact same, can get moved for so little. Like, mentally, you hear the Von Miller's name, you're like, oh, that's a first-round pick, easy. No, not a first-round pick. It's like a mid to late-round picks you're trading from. It's like, wait, what? Why didn't anyone just go do that? Like, you get so confused. Like, why aren't we going, like, Stephon Gilmore going for a fourth, I think it was, like, or sixth, actually. Like, why aren't we going to get that? Like, it's Stephon Gilmore. Last we saw, he was a tick down from his Defensive Player of the Year status. Like, he took a step back, but, like, if you take a step back from Defensive Player of the Year, you're still really good. And then he has Harrison Butker. But Darren Waller on his bench. Tyler Lockett, finally, he had a good week. He told you, bench him, he's going to have a good week. Next week, you'll probably put him in. He'll probably have 2 points. Actually, he has a bye this week, but probably have 2 points. Marquise Brown on a bye. That's going to be... So, Tyler's team's in the same exact position to where it really comes down to his receivers being boom or bust. That's what that's his team. We knew it going in. We knew it drafting. And then the last game of the week, the Wade Bowl. Joey Ebb reached out to me asking if I was going to put him 10th this week. We'll have to see what I do. But I love you, Joey. Thank you for shouting out. Joey was worried. Justin talked to me about it too. Justin's team, 8-0. This is actually a big win for Justin, because if Justin goes on a little bit of a losing streak, being 3 games up on everybody else is going to definitely help. he pretty much solidified himself in the playoffs because, obviously, as we know, Derrick Henry's out for 6 to 10 weeks. Looking like 8. So he could get Derrick Henry back the second to last week or the last week of the playoffs as early as the first week of the playoffs. He picked up Adrian Peterson. I need that. We're going to talk at some point. I need Adrian Peterson. I need it. Anyways, but he's still fine. He's got Justin Herbert. He does Jonathan Taylor and Joe Mixon, who he's good there. Justin Jefferson had a bad week this week against Dallas. But he's got Justin Jefferson. He's got Jamar Chase. He's got Tyler Higbee. That flex position now, since you have Jonathan Taylor move up, Joe Mixon move up, that flex position now, it's going to be maybe AP, depending on how much they use him. Maybe AJ Green. Maybe, I don't know, Jamal Williams, all depending. It's going to be what they find in that. It's going to be intriguing. It's going to be intriguing to see what he's able to plug in there. But he's got such a lead. He's got such a lead and still the ability to win without it, because he can still put up 120 without a great flex. He's going to be fine. Wounded. But, he's still fine. He's still the best team in our league. Will that change at some point? Yeah, to see. Then Joey, in my tier, I have my ranking tiers. I actually wrote them down today, guys, instead of just flowing off the top of the head. I even named them already, and you'll hear. I'm sorry, you're unlucky because you scored the second or third most points in our league. So honestly, keep playing high lineups because there's a possibility you win $20 back due to the fact that you get the most points, but you're the worst. That should be a $1 reward for having the most points but the worst team, because that's hard to do. It's you're trying to do that. But Ryan Tannehill's Ryan Tannehill. And then obviously Lamar Jackson on the bench. You got Ezekiel Elliott. You got Chase Edmonds. T. Higgins, Adam Thielen, Zach Ertz, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb didn't have a big week. Zeke didn't have a big week at all. That's going to hurt you. You look at, and then Chase Edmonds had a solid week. T. Higgins did what he's supposed to do. Adam Thielen did what he's supposed to do. Zach Ertz did, his 1 point under projected. You don't really expect anything crazy from Zach Ertz. You hope for a big touchdown, but if not, it's going to be 3 catches, 40 yards, something like that. Amari Cooper had a big week on his bench, so it's probably kicking him that he's I played T. Higgins over Amari Cooper, but at the same time, whatever. It happens. It happens. T. Higgins played the Jets. You would think that he would ball out, so can't really blame. I don't look at any of his moves. I'm the only thing would have been Chase Edmonds, but Chase Edmonds was the best back out of all of them, so you can't really hate any of the decisions this week that he made. His team is talented. He's got Dawson Knox and Zach Ertz. He's got Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper, T. Higgins, Ezekiel Elliott, Nick Chubb, Lamar Jackson, Michael Thomas. Whenever he comes back, we don't like him. I don't care for him he sucks. He just sucks. But he's got a good team. It's just he keeps losing. So, and I can't, as much as I understand his team is better than some teams, I can't reward the consistent losing. I understand this isn't just a power ranking, but at the same time, I can't reward people higher in the rankings when they're losing every week. I can't do it. Their roster's more talented, but they're losing. There's NFL teams like that. Their roster's more talented, but they're losing. So I'm a better team. They should be. The Dallas Cowboys were in that every single damn year. For this year, obviously, aside, it was, wow, they have one of the best offenses in the league and so much defensive names and talent on defense, but they can't put it together. So that was our week. That's going through our week. Again, this week more long-winded than 2 weeks ago, and maybe even last week, depending on the time here, because I feel good. But anyways, alright, so now that I'm done being garbage, actually that kind of foreshadows what we're doing here. So I named the tiers. I'm going to put the picture up, and I went with a song week. I named each tier off of songs. So at 10, I got Joey. And let me just. I didn't think I was gonna do this, but let me do this. Let me do this real quick. I'm gonna play each song instead of just singing it myself. So, Joey, you're 10. Why are you 10, bud? You are 10 because, as I just said, you just can't stay out of your own way. Like, it's just, it sucks. And I'm sorry for you, too. Oh, man. What I feel. Don't hit back. You got it bad. That's all I wanted to play. Joey, you got it bad. Like, you putting up points every week, but, like, you got it bad. You got it bad. Alright. Oh, guys, I'm sorry I'm garbage. But, so then we got 9. 9. It's going to be Ira. Ira, I think your team, but you are all in the same tier you're in the same tier as a couple other people. Ira, I think your team is good. I think it's flawed, but I also think it's snake bitten right now with injuries. So I think after a little bit of time, your team will improve. So I think that your team has a chance, and you'll see by the tier name that I have here. And then I have Joe 8. Again, Joe is a team that's going to be wildly inconsistent. His team's either going to be really high or really low as I've progressed. I mean, obviously it could be in the middle because half the team could be high and low, but like typically that's how a season's going to go. And he's up in the air. 7, I have me. You could replace people on this list. It was what you feel. But 7, I have myself. I have a team that big week last week. I'm in that 3 and 5 bubble, and we're there. So we're going to be competing for a chance to be that 4 seed, but it all depends. It all depends on how things play out. And then Timmy's 6. I was comparing my team to Timmy's team, and Timmy has a better team than I do. I don't think it's like, and really what puts it over the top is his receivers. Like Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams will put you over the top over many people. But boys, we know exactly what this team is. This is a banger. Don't stop believing. Hold on to the. Don't stop believing, boys. We've got a chance. We have a chance to actually go do something. I know we do. Like, one of us will, unless we just beat up on each other, one of us will have a chance to actually go and make moves. So, Jared, your team is good. Your team is really good. Your team can win it all. It's just the fact of the matter is that you're just waiting. You're waiting. Have the means to rise above and beat it. So we keep waiting on the world to change. He's waiting on his lineup to change. Like, he's just waiting for Christian McCaffrey to come back. He's waiting, like, Dalvin Cook's been in and out. He's just waiting for a healthy team. Once this team is healthy, Jared's good. That's 5. 4. Tyler. I'm a flirt. Soon as I see you walk up in the club, I'm a flirt. Why is Tyler a flirt? Because he keeps flirting with greatness. He just is a boomer bust. That's what boomer bust people do. They just flirt with greatness. They're literally like, "Hey, I'm great," and then the next week, like, "I'm not." Like, we've gone through all the teams. I don't really need to explain fully why, but like Tyler just keeps flirting with greatness. Like he could be beaten by anyone. Obviously, it's fantasy, so anyone can. But like, you could make an argument that Tyler on his best day is 2. Maybe 1 now, but just like you could make an argument he's almost 1 on his best day, but on his worst day he's almost 10. Like it's just, but he's had more good days than bad days. So like he's being rewarded for that, obviously. So it's pretty much, so that's him. He's a flirt. He is flirting with success. He's flirting with success and flirting with mediocrity at the same time. He sees a girl in the club. He's like, man, that's an 8 over there. I'm on my A game. I'm dressed. I've got the nice outfit, nice cut. I can go and I can get that. But then there are some days he goes into the club looking like a bum, and he can only get the 3 over there, and that's even a maybe. So literally, he's just flirting. He's like, well, let me go flirt with mediocrity over there because I don't feel confident. And then some weeks it's like, okay. And then there's some weeks where he comes in, he thought he wasn't confident, he is, and so he's just a flirt right now. Camden and Austin. Austin's 3. Austin making biggest leap of the week, but his team, as I said, no holes. Camden's team, no holes. Justin just went down with Derrick Henry, the best player in the league, fantasy-wise, almost. So what do? I feel it coming. I feel it coming, babe. I feel it coming. Like they should feel happy. They're like, okay, Austin's 4-4, obviously in play for that last seed. Camden's 5-3. He's in play. Like I feel it coming. Like we've got all the keys to the kingdom. All we need to do is every week make sure we play the right lineup and we go. And then number 1, we obviously know Justin's number 1. There's no reason why a team who's undefeated, who has been the best team in our league for the last 5 to 4 weeks, really, honestly, all year, he's had the talent to be. And then there's no reason why we should, chastise him for that. But what I can say, though, I chose laugh now, cry later for Drake. Why? Because sometimes we laugh and sometimes we cry, but I guess you know now. Justin, you're right now, you're laughing. You're like, oh, mate, I'm chilling. Even though I think you're, sad inside. I know you are. But, laugh now. You're winning. You're going to cry later because Derrick Henry's damn out. And you're going to have to deal with you're going to have to deal with a problem like Austin or Camden. Or you're going to have to deal with one of these 3-5 teams. Or you're going to have to deal with Tyler if he goes off. Or a healthy Jarrett. So, you can laugh now. You're going to cry later. And sometimes we laugh and sometimes we cry, but I guess you know now, baby. But another week now, every week's is obviously a massive week now since we're late in the season. Me versus Joe, 3-5 teams. Whatever 3-5 team, pretty much who loses this game is actually done. Unless things again go perfect, whoever loses this game's really done. So this is a huge game this week. And I've got Tom Brady on a bye. I've got DK Metcalf on a bye. I have got bye week hell, and he's actually healthy. I hope James Robinson doesn't play. But there's that. And then we got 3-5 Ira versus Timmy. Again, the winner of that game will be in a good position. The loser will probably be out. So whoever loses that's a huge game. That's a huge game. Obviously, it's a huge game. Camden could lose to Joey because Joey has knockout power. Joey's got punching power. So he could lose to Camden could lose to Joey, and if he went to 5-4, oh boy, we're looking a little scary now. That's a consistent team starting to get not so consistent, or it's just bad luck. But even so, Joey knows all about bad luck. And then we got Jared versus Justin. Jared, you've got maybe Christian McCaffrey, I think, maybe back this week. But you've got everything you need. You got it. Dalvin Cook's healthy. Tyreek Hill, like, everyone's healthy. This should be your week that you come back and you're like, we're here. I'm here again. Get to 5-4. And then you got Austin versus Tyler. Huge week in the Lamore Bowl. Huge week. Austin wins. He solidifies himself in that top upper echelon. Tyler wins. He gets to 6-3. His team's in boom or bust. He still gets to 6-3. Still could make a move. Still showcasing what he can do. This is a huge week this week. This week is This week's going to weed out a lot of things, I think. At least weed out the bottom. It's going to make it go from like a 9-person league to a 6-person league this week. But there you have it. This one's long. It's 40 minutes. God. That's what happens when you play music. You're having fun. Fun in the sun. Good luck to everybody this week. Boys, got love for you guys. Well, I'm out.